Welcome back to my channel, Sunny Art Academy. We are going to add two different types of flowers and the stems that go with it. Okay guys, don't forget to subscribe. Just to let everybody know, for this painting, I am using the Prang Watercolors. These are, very inexpensive. You can get them at Dick Blick. You can get them on Amazon, Michael's. I believe they're on Jerry's Art store. You can get them just about anywhere. Now, I have the expanded version. The average version is just, I believe it's these right here. If you get just not a double, this is a double pan prang. If you get just a single pan prang, you're going to get everything right here, and you might get white. I'm not sure. No, because you get black. So anyway, if you get a single pan, you can do the same thing with the single pan as I am with the double. So something I'm going to do to get started is I'm just going to clean up one of these spots. I'm just getting a paper towel and scrubbing over it. Many of the time I just paint on top of it. I don't go in and clean up my pans very much, just because I may want that gray. That's a good idea. But this time I'm just going to clean this up so we have one clean area just to get started. All right, I am using, this is a number 8. I'm going to work with this first, and if I don't like it, then I will try a different one. I have this purple color right here. I'm going to take the purple and put it right here. It's magenta, actually. It's not purple. The purple's next door. This is magenta, and I'm going to take a little bit of the brown and I'm going to mix it, and I'm going to clean my brush so there's not so much on there, and I'm going to pick up just stuff on the tip, and I'm going to put down 3 dots. Like that. And then I'm going to rinse my brush. Now, many people have 2 different water containers. They have one where you rinse the brush, and then you have another one that has clean water in it all the time, and then you rinse the brush in the clean water. You could do that. You don't have to do that. I just have one. So, it's up to you. I change my water often. So it depends on how long you want to sit here before you change your water. Okay, and then we're going to take the brush, we're going to put it on the side, and then what we're going to do is we are just going to dab it and do this to create a leaf, and then we're going to do another leaf here. And I'm cleaning my brush again because I want to keep it clean from the paint that I picked up a minute ago. And I have an extra dab of water because I had a lot of water on my brush. So see, that's, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry my brush off. So then I have mainly just paint. I'm going to go back in, get paint, and I'm going to create another dot here. And I'm going to have to mix some more paint up. I'm going to get a glob of it, lots of paint, and put right here, and then another one right there. And I might even go back and add a little bit of color to the other petals. So I'm cleaning my brush really, really good. Then I'm going to go back in. Because remember, I have water, clean water. We're going to do the same thing. Most flowers have 5 petals. So we're actually putting 5 petals on this flower. Okay. So what I might do now is dry my brush again, go back and get more color and add more color, and I might even go in, I gotta mix one more time, get a bunch of color on my, and the center of a flower usually is darker than, and then it gets, the color gets lighter as it goes out to the edge of the petal. Now, if you're looking at your flowers, at this flower, and go, the leaves on the outside or the petals on the outside kind of look funny. You go in, you clean your brush really good, and now you can go back, and you need water on there, but you don't need it to be totally dripping. And then you can go back and kind of shape your petal so it's not so jagged on the outside. You got to get fresh water to do it. And as it dries, here's your first flower. All right, so now we're gonna do another one. See, what other color do I want to do? I think I want to do 2 of these and maybe a different color. So I'm gonna go on, while I still have this mixed up, I'm going to do another one like this. So you go in with color on your lots of paint, lots of pigment, and do 3 dots. Puddle up the dots. Wash your brush really, really good. And then go in with your brush and something I like to do is turn the page because I'm right-handed. Kind of helps to turn the page around. See, I'm touching the color just with the tip, but I still need to go in and clean my brush so I have fresh water on my petal. All right, so then we're gonna go in and get more color and do 2 more dots. I might even add a little to that. There you go, and then I'm gonna go in and put in another dot here and another dot here. And clean my brush. And as you can see, this petal rushed, the water rushed into this other one, which isn't a bad thing, unless you just don't want that. And now I'm going back and kind of working on the petals, filling in. So if that happens and you really don't like it, you can always go back with a dry brush. Let me find a dry brush. Got a little dry brush somewhere here. You can go back in with a dry brush and pick up some of that water if you want. And go in and pick up that water with that dry brush. And I like to leave white in between the leaves because it just, I don't know, it gives it more definition or something. So maybe I want a little more color. I'm picking up color and put more color in. Okay. So now we've got two, let's do 3 flowers. Maybe a purple. Some purple going here. Ooh. Yeah, we'll do some purple. How about that? And something I like to do is, you know, there's an infinite amount of colors as far as there's how many purples? There's hundreds of purples, there's hundreds of pinks, there's hundreds of, and this is like off-centered. I almost want to go in and fix, let's see, how can I fix that? Maybe where this comes out a little more. That was kind of funky. There we go, that looks better. Okay, so there's all kinds of purples. I'm gonna use, we used one color in the center. I think it's nice to use more than one color, because if you look at any photograph of or if you look at any flower, they have more than one color in them. They don't just have one hue of one color in them. So, okay, so I'm gonna use 2 different types of purple. So here are the first 3 dots. Clean my brush really, really good. And then lay it on the side to create these. Again, I like to, I'm right-handed, so I take the paper and turn it around a little. I'm going to turn it around again. And I think this time I didn't put as much pigment as before, so I'm going to add a little there. Okay, and so now I need to do 2 more dots. So I'm going to go in and pick up this other purple that I got here and put a dot there, and I guess I'll put a dot here. This kind of all kind of moved in together. Okay, so they all bloomed in together on this flower. So I'm going to need to go in and get a dry brush and kind of pick up some of the water. I don't know if you can see it moving around on my page. Hopefully you can. I'm going to get more pigment and put in that one. And then you know what's really crazy is the pigment that was here, it all went into, it bloomed into the other petals next to it. So I kind of have to start this guy over. Okay, clean my brush really, really, really good. And I'm going to go in and put in another leaf right here. And this flower is kind of a mess, isn't it? So I'll go back in and clean up the outside. And they can be ruffly. It doesn't hurt to be ruffly. But, ooh, it was too ruffly, wouldn't it? Okay, then I'm going to go in and take up some of this water. And there's another petal, another flower. And I really like the colors in this one. think it needs to be darker in the center. We need more dark in the center. And since I made this one darker, it's almost as if you need to do that to the other one. So I am going to go back in and pick up this color again. And I think I'm going to make it a little darker in the center. There. Cleaning my brush really good. And this is dried already, so I'm going to go back in and add just a little bit of clean water to get that to spread out again. Ooh. Almost did too much there. Okay. So there are 3 flowers. I thought it'd be fun to do something different and use a liner brush, because a liner brush will hold more water, so it's easier to create whimsical stems. Getting a little bitty brush right here would not have very much water in it, and so you're going to run out of water when you're creating these stems, and so I'm going to use a liner brush for this. I have green and blue on one of my on my palette right here. I'm going to just smooth this around here. So I'm going to pick up some green. Already had blue, kind of a gray, dark blue. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take the liner brush and just pull it down. The stem doesn't have to be completely straight, oops, to create a stem, and I almost think it's too green. It needs to have a darker color in it to kind of go better with the flowers. So I'm going in, and I believe there's some blue. I'm putting some blue in it, making it a little darker. I guess it has to be green, but anyway, okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take another one here. I'm going to pull it this way, and I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to pull it all the way through like that to create these stems. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this, only I'm going to pull it out over here so they look a little whimsical. So now that we have stems in here, that I almost want them to have some brown or something. I don't know, they don't, this color doesn't really work well. Okay. The stems are almost too bright or something, I don't know. Oh, and if you see what happened, I touched that, it was still wet, and it bloomed into my flower. Actually, I think it's kind of fun. So I'm adding a little bit of brown to my stems because they're a little bright. The green is a little brighter than I expected it to be. So I toned it down with a little bit of brown, not much, just a tiny bit. So now I'm going to take a different brush. If this is a round, this is a number 6 round, and I'm going to go in and create some leaves. Creating some leaf shapes, and I usually leave a white area, just a little bit of white because I think that that gives it, I think it just makes it look nice. And I don't always pull it all the way to the, you know, right here, it's not even touching. You can make it touch if you'd like, but I don't even have it touching. So I'm going to go in, and the next leaf is going to be a little different color. I like doing a variety, so they're not exactly the same. This one is a little browner than the last one. And then this, I'm going to go in and maybe add maybe extra green, maybe do some green. On and create more leaves. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do to this is we're going to add some like baby's breath. We're going to go back and get this, the liner brush, and I'm going to change the green a little bit by adding a lighter green. You could add yellow if you don't have that. And then I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go in and add real skinny limbs like this. And maybe some right up here, and then another one over here, just a little. Now baby's breath is white, but before it's white, it's kind of it's green, and they're little puffs of green. I'm going to add yellow, and I'm going to do little dots. Kind of give it its fullness. So every single one of these little bitty limbs that we put on this, on our branch, is going to have a little squiggly on it. Needs more yellow. Any more yellow? Little squigglies on it. Now I'm using this liner brush. I'm using just the tip of it, just the very tip of it. You're creating these little puffs of color. Going back and changing, doing darker and lighter. I usually put the darker down at the bottom of the puff, so it almost looks like it's a shadow. And then do the lighter yellow at the top. We're just doing little squigglies. Ooh, there's something on that. So the last thing that I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get a whole bunch of water and a little bit of color, and I'm kind of just going to go in here and just dot, kind of just fling a few dots around. I think it's kind of fun to have that. And if you think you've done too much, remember, while it's really wet, you can always go in and soak it up. So if you think, oh, that's just too much, make sure that it's nice and dry and make sure there's not any other paint on it and it's clean. Just go in, and then you have a little bit, but it's not quite as crazy. Like, I don't know, that's like too much right there. There you go. And then the last thing you need to do is make sure you sign it, because you painted it. I hope you enjoyed painting this painting with me, and let's paint another one together. See you in the next video.